This is Omni Sports Breakfast. Sports with Kevin McCollum and MKT.
Max Verstappen put on a driving masterclass in the driving rain in Brazil to win the race and all but sealed the title with a 62-point lead with 3 races to go. That, however, wasn't the main story. He was in some mood at the press conference afterwards. If you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor. Here's what Max had to say. He said, he sort of interrupted the press conference. He said, I have a quick question here. I appreciate all of you being here, as he spoke to the media, but I don't see any British press. Did they have to run to the airport, or do they not know where the press conference is? Do you know? No clue. And then he sort of let them go ahead. So not only is the guy a menace on the track, he's a menace off it.
Yeah, well, strangely enough, every single British journalist who was at the press conference managed to report on the press conference. He said none of that. I think he was looking for more for Damon Hill and Johnny Herbert. Damon Hill called him Dick Dastardly from the Wacky Races cartoon. Johnny Herbert said he was dangerous. It's not the first time Verstappen's had a go at British media. He had a go just before the British Grand Prix, saying this 85% of the F1 press is English. So obviously they're going to be pushing for their guy, pushing for Norris. So there's going to be a bit of slant, and you can see that.
But I love that he just won't let up, you know. It's like, I guess some people can't win against the media. When you make $50 million a year at his age, he's like, there's no beating him. You know, he's already in the Hall of Fame, quote unquote. I don't think there is one for Formula One. He's already that guy, and he's already rich, so he can afford to have it. He's like the ultimate trust fund kid. I am good, I do work hard, and I'm one of the greatest of all time. What the hell are you going to tell me? And the British media, it must be driving them berserk.
Yeah, I mean, Lando Norris and Verstappen are friends, but you wouldn't say so the way they drive against each other on the track. Norris made a lot of mistakes in Brazil, not the least of when he had to come into the pits early. But Verstappen's demonstration was just masterclass. Unbelievable.
I mean, you're a Formula One guy. You're an all-round sports guy. Your thoughts on Verstappen in general?
I think he does push the envelope a little bit too much sometimes, and he's not the most diplomatic. So is he the best thing for Formula One at the moment? Probably. Is he what Formula One needs? Maybe. But we do need more than one team and one horse races at the moment. And Lando Norris is trying to provide that.
You know who love him? Is the Americans who bought... This is what they bought Formula One for. They don't want, Mika Häkkinen. Like a drive your car and go home guy. We want this guy probing the media, because now, whether Max likes it or not, is they own the media rights. Is they are the Netflix documentary after this. Can you imagine? What's called Drive to Survive season 11 or whatever. Oh my God, this is absolute gold. So Max Verstappen at it again with the British media. Would love to hear what people have to say. 0788 7716. If you are indeed a fan of the F1 racing, he is quite something else. A man on the other side of it all. In India, they have something like, I don't know if it's a national state of a disaster, but something like it. India have been whitewashed 3-0 in a home test series for the first time ever. Skipper Rohit Sharma has he's chosen to be philosophical about it. Here's what Rohit had to say.
You know, it's one day you're on a high, one day you're not. And that is something that I've learned at a very young age about life. But that is something that personally I also drive myself through with not getting carried away with certain things in life. It is important for me to understand that, life is not about just highs. There can be lows as well, which I've seen a lot through my career. So, but definitely, something like this will be a very low point in my career, having lost, 3 games at home. And, I fully take the responsibility of that, as a captain and as a leader as well. I have not been at the best of my abilities right from the start of the series. And with the bat as well, I've not been good enough.
What was that headline? Olympus has fallen.
Olympus has fallen. This loss to New Zealand is the latest unravelling in a series of unravellings. They are looking really, really bad. They don't look anything like them. Virat Kohli must be done. Rohit Sharma must be questioning himself. He only scored 133 in his last 10 innings at home. So that's huge questions against him as a captain and as a batsman.
Again, I'll say it, the value of not having touring games, and these guys are coming straight from T20 and one-day matches. And also, I think this is something they're going to have to acknowledge. They started the IPL. The youngsters now are playing. I mean, you saw Jaiswal, especially in the second test match. The guy was playing like they were chasing 80 or 20 balls.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, you've got 4 more days left. You could probably go at 70 strike rate. You don't have to go at 200 strike rate. It's a test match. But you reap what you sow. Right, is that they have bred this next generation to play T20 cricket. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. Well, this is what happens.
Yeah.
Because now you saw New Zealand said, oh, no, we've got 2 spinners as well.
Yeah. And India had actually buggered up by playing so many spinners. That was a huge mistake. Those ranked turners didn't work for them, and they didn't take the wickets.
3-0 whitewash at home. Has the IPL come back to haunt India? Sometimes they say, what do they say? You make a rod for your own back.
Yeah, I mean, there's Bazball and there's Spazball, and that's what they've been playing.
Well, let's move on to the oval ball. The rugby. 2 men who have had their own problems as well recently are New Zealand and England rugby coaches Steve Borthwick and Scott Robertson. Robertson issues were slightly eased for the year by the victory. Here's what Scotty Robertson Razor had to say.
I'm pleased, just as much as relieved really. I'm pleased because of how much effort and care, and every game we've been in this year, we've either led or a chance to win it, so to get one, and look, it's a piece for the group because it means a lot to us and galvanise us.
I think New Zealand are in a tricky place. We had Flip van der Merwe on yesterday, and we spoke about the problem they've got of... You remember how Australia and New Zealand treated South African rugby, the whole Sanzar thing, where they thought that they had the upper hand, and they did at the time because financially they're both stronger economies. What they forgot is that they are on the arse end of the world, and they're not actually part of any other sort of economy, really, in terms of timeline. And then we were like, wait, these guys up here have euros and pounds. It's on the same timeline. It cuts our flight time like by 70%. Let's just join them. And now they're out in the cold, and now they want to ask back in. That's not how it works.
Yeah, I mean, South Africa was almost their bridge to the Northern Hemisphere because with the same time frame, and it puts South Africa in an excellent position, logistically, time-wise, and we've got the teams. And there's also a slightly less journey. There's no time lag. The journey takes, 13 hours to get there. It can take up to a day and a half to get to New Zealand because you've got to fly in via Sydney or via Perth and then Sydney and then to Auckland and then maybe down to Dunedin. It's a hell of a trip.
It is a hell of a trip. And now, here's the other big problem, is their players are now going, well, if I'm going to play rubbish rugby, I might as well go do that in the UK, in Japan. And now that's even diluting their product even more because they're losing their best products early. So the All Blacks, this is what happens. Yeah, stay humble, as the great Erling Haaland said to Arsenal. Let's move over to the English. Borthwick, on the other hand, well, he had a different set of issues because they lost. Here's what Borthwick had to say.
I think that to be put in a position where you're winning by the margin the team were at that point in time, then there's clearly an opportunity to win the game. And there's some pretty clear things why we didn't against a very good New Zealand team. We gave them a window to get back, and they took it.
William Shakespeare gave us one of the greatest lines of all time. This one was, and he introduced it in one of his plays. Borthwick's in a pickle. He's in a pickle. In the words of Shakespeare, he's in a pickle because we're in that awkward phase where do we invest in you until 2027? Luckily, he doesn't have the British and Irish Lions because I think that would be an even bigger problem if he was like the coach or whatever. But do they stay with him until 27? Because we're 2 years in now, and I don't know if what you're seeing, but I'm not really seeing like an established playing style. I haven't seen the new blood coming in. Like George Ford, what's he still doing there?
Yeah, and there's been a revolving door of people, coaching staff leaving. He's got. I wrote my Substack on this yesterday, and it's on the web, on the audio website if you want to read it. But it's a series of hard luck stories for England. That's what they talk about. So in the last 4 times in the last 5 tests against France and now 3 times against All Blacks, they've basically lost by a couple of points, and they keep saying we're unfortunate. But then you keep asking yourself, how long can you be a developing team? Is every team developing? And you keep saying, I'm developing for the future. So, well, the future's not far away. You've got to develop and have a core. And England don't have it. You're absolutely right. They're very undecided, very unsure of themselves. And there's no confidence.
Listen live and on demand.
Welcome to Omni Sport.